Thank you for joining us on this week's edition of the program. Today we're focusing on a very important issue. We have challenges across the world where conflicts are driving people from place to place, and also people have become vulnerable, and some are displaced from their homes. Their means of livelihood has been taken away from them. And we want to know, there's an NGO which is also trying to step in and also mitigate the circumstances of young people, especially of school-going age, secondary school, that is precisely. I'm Yakubu Taddy. We have here in the studio our guests who will be giving us an insight into what they do and how they came about doing this. Sir, you're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me.
Yes, you need to introduce yourself so that our viewer would know who you are.
Okay. My name is Reverend Dr. Dogara Ishaya Manomi. I'm a lecturer at the Theological College of Northern Nigeria, and I am the Executive Director of the NGO called Initiative for Victims' Educational and Economic Development, I-VEED in short.
Okay. How did this come about?
It first came about out of a burden, personal burden that I and my wife have for children who have been affected by terrorism or the religious violence. We used to support them individually in their studies and all of that. And then when I later we went as a family to Germany for my PhD. Then we had lots of requests from Nigeria from people in such situation, and we were helping individually as a family. But then it got to a point that the requests were beyond our capacity. So we began to share with a few friends here and there, and they would always ask whether we have a website or we have a registered organization through which they could support. That was why we thought, okay, let's register it officially as an NGO so we could have more support. But initially it came about from personal burden that God has laid in our hearts.
Okay, most people would want to know, have you had an encounter, personal encounter, from your community that you've seen such situations about violence and crises that have displaced people, and also begin to look at it and say, okay, I feel this pain of these people?
That's true. I grew up in Tafawa Balewa, which has suffered a series of crises from childhood. We grew up knowing about gunshots and bullets and waking up in the night and running. And we've been displaced at some point. And we've had people also coming to stay with us when our own part of the community was safer. So that, I believe, was the initial thought and burden that this came about. But as I went on to become a pastor, I've pastored churches here in Jos, where we have many of church people coming to stay with families, or in IDP camps coming to worship with us. So I've had personal encounter at that level.
Okay. It's quite sad and quite interesting that, yes, there is hope. Because that's what Jesus offers to humanity. And looking at the problem, I just briefly went through your vision and mission and looking at the scope.
Yes.
Why focus on the north?
Yes, we are focusing on the northern Nigeria because so far statistics have shown that northern Nigeria is the region in the whole world with the highest number of out-of-school children. That's why we're focusing on northern Nigeria. And when you combine all the factors, poverty is in northern Nigeria more than the southern part of Nigeria, and terrorism is also here. So illiteracy, poverty, terrorism, all in one region, that makes the region very vulnerable in terms of education. That's why the focus has been on northern Nigeria for now. Hopefully, as we expand, as we grow, we could expand.
Education could be in diverse means, because some people have come to say, if we judge it by the Western standards of education, we may miss the point. There's also education by culture and civilization, and we cannot take away. If you have people of school age, but who also have skills, is that to say there's no place for them within your NGO?
No, there is a place for them. We are also viewing education holistically. Some of them who are not well positioned for formal education, so to say, we also try to provide them some other alternative education, skill acquisition, and all of that. And we've had some who are already of age past secondary school level, but who have sincere commitment and desire to have secondary education without a background. Some may not even read and write. We have extra lessons arranged for them. We pay the teachers to equip them and send them back. But some who do not have that motivation and the background, we try to provide means for them to acquire skills, and we sponsor that as well. So it's holistic.
So how do you do that? That the victims are in different communities.
That's
How do you pull them together in schools? Is it that you have to go to schools in those areas or nearby places where they have safer homes or sanctuaries from the conflict, or you bring them to a particular place and organize such?
Okay, no, we don't have a particular place, a fixed location, and that was for a reason, because we believe the best way going forward is not to extract these students, children, and keep them in one place. They are also growing up in a community, and they get to learn from others as well. So we provide support, keeping them in safer communities, except if it's too dangerous, we take some of them to a boarding school elsewhere. But during holidays, we want them to be in the community, because they're not going to live together, just the group of them. They need to meet other people in the society. So we support them in their communities. And if the community is too dangerous, we take them to safer places where they could have education. That's what we do, basically.
For some of those you have met,
Yes.
what is their state of mind? Is there bitterness? And can they change it? Because sometimes you have people from such communities, some people live with the bitterness for the rest of their lives.
That's true.
Yes. How transformative is what you're doing?
It has thankfully been so encouraging to see some of them grow and overcome their hatred towards maybe people from the other faith, because there's this stereotyping that someone believes for example, a Muslim is a terrorist because terrorist killed his father, so he believes he should hate every Muslim. And we try to provide teaching in terms of interreligious dialogue, peaceful coexistence, trauma healing, to help them understand and see it from a new perspective and be healed. And we've seen children have a change of perspective, make commitments for peace. And in our workshops, more than just sponsorship, we provide workshops too. We've brought them together, even helped them to build relationships, and it has been transformative to see them have a change of perspective and develop forgiveness and reconciliation among the generation that is coming up.
Your first encounter with some of them, how do they always behave?
Some of them have shedded tears in gratitude for the sponsorship. I remember the last workshop we had some few days ago. One of the highlights for some of the children is that they have been sponsored for over a year and they have never seen the executive director. We have representatives in different communities, and normally I don't go to all the communities. And so they have been asking, some had even written to them officially, to our representatives, that they want to meet the main person organizing this whole NGO. And when they came, we met, and some of them were really, really so grateful, and some shedded tears of gratitude for what I-VEED is doing for them. And we've gone to Adamawa, to Nasarawa, to Plateau, to Bauchi. I've met some of them, and their reaction is always encouraging, that of gratitude. Some of them had no hope for study, back to school, but through I-VEED, they are back to school and they are ever grateful.
What is the scope of the training you have for such young people? The major training is to enroll them in school and pay for school fees, pay for uniforms, pay for books. We provide 100% scholarship. But then we also have 3 other aspects of training that we give them to provide support. One is the trauma healing workshops that we do, or seminars, to provide them psychological support to be able to succeed, to have them bring their minds together to succeed. We also provide them academic success workshops and seminars to help them also to have the techniques to pass or to succeed educationally in school. And we also provide peaceful coexistence seminars, how we should watch out for words, for example, that could trigger conflict. Hate speech.
Yeah, hate speeches. We've discouraged our beneficiaries using words like Arne, Kafri, Maraban Gaskia on the part of Christians to call a Muslim, or a Muslim to call a Christian Kafri, Arne. So we provide this kind of training on how to engage someone from a different faith respectfully, so we could live peacefully in a peaceful coexistence.
How do you choose, or how do you meet this? How do you select? Let me use the word select.
Yes.
Beneficiaries of these programs. You are a pastor.
Yes.
And a Christian.
That's true.
So, is there room for other people other than Christians?
Yes, that's we are supporting children, irrespective of their religious backgrounds or their ethnic backgrounds or even their political affiliations. We have representatives in our team. We're a team of Muslims and Christians, and we support the children almost equally because we want to change the narrative. We don't want to just advance one religion over the other. So these representatives in different communities are going to meet Christians and Muslims. Sometimes we partner with local authorities like churches or mosques to identify families who have been truly affected by these situations. We go to communities that are already known to be vulnerable, or who are communities that are hosting people who are internally displaced. Those are the places we go, and we verify through a rigorous process to check truly if they are in such situation. If they are receiving any help from elsewhere, we try not to support them. We go to those who truly need it, and those ones are the ones who are out of school, not because they don't want to, but because they cannot afford it. So that's how we verify in the communities, irrespective of one's religious background.
When did I-VEED start? And from your database, how many people are benefiting or have graduated from this support system?
Okay, we started officially in the year 2019. And like I said, we were already doing it at our own level without any registration, but we got registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission in 2019. So we started officially. So far, currently we are sponsoring 150 children across 5 states. Like I've mentioned, Adamawa, Borno, Bauchi, Plateau, and Nasarawa states. And we've had some who had graduated already. We paid for their WAEC and NACO. Some we met at SS2 and they graduated last year. So altogether, at this point, I don't have the fixed figure. I would have to check that, but something within the range of 250.
Okay.
Yes.
What you after graduation from secondary school, you sever relationships, or there's a tracking mechanism to also ensure that yes, from what they have gained, they are also become useful in society.
Yeah, that's one aspect we're still working on that to develop, but we've had only few of them in tertiary institutions. The focus is on secondary school, but we've told them anyone who performs excellently and shows strong commitment to further education in the university, we'll do our best to support. And so far we've supported 5 of them. But we do not sever the relationship completely. We try to provide them skills to get themselves busy until they could find another way. And we're hoping to partner with other NGOs who could take that on from the tertiary institution and sponsor them, those who want to continue beyond our capacity.
Okay, in Nigeria today, I've read instances of you're trying to help.
Yes.
People become suspicious and trying to say, okay, they want to convert us to this religion, or you want to convert. I read one recently in Jos. I don't know the details of it. How do you cope? Have you experienced such things? And how would you cope if such things emerge?
That's true. We've experienced that a little bit, not much. We've had some parents raise questions. Some of them, that's even the reason why they want to meet me personally, because they wonder, is there really something behind it? Or is it just free sponsorship? Or are we aiming to convert them to Christianity? But thankfully, since we're a team of Christians and Muslims, and it's very obvious to everyone, we go sometimes together and we tell them about our religion openly. So it helps to correct that kind of impression. So we've had few experiences here and there, but we've explained and they've been convinced. And whenever such comes up, we'll always try to explain. We don't preach, it's a humanitarian service, basically. And being Muslims and Christians in the team, I think it helps to correct that impression a great deal.
I get worried most times in Nigeria when people talk about Christians, Muslims. There are other people who don't belong to these religions.
That's true.
Is there no place for them?
There is a place for them. This just happened to be the dominant religions, but so far we've not met anyone who does not identify as a Christian or Muslim. But if we meet, we will be 100% ready to support. So there is a place for those who do not identify as Christians or Muslims. It could be any other religion, or even without a religion, or African traditional religion. We will all be happy to support once they meet our requirements that they are in this situation and they need help.
We look at Nigeria and we look at the problems.
Yes.
The young people may be innocent and ignorant. Is it not also not looking at the cause of the problem, but talking to people who are innocent completely do not know. The people who cause the problem, the adults, the leaders, and so on and so forth, who poison the minds of young people. Why are you not talking to this category of people?
Yeah, we believe as an NGO we cannot do everything. There are other NGOs dealing with those ones. So, but whether they are innocent or not, they have been affected by this situation. And they are potential Boko Harams in the future or terrorists in the future if they don't have the education and the support that they need. I think one of the reasons why Boko Haram has thrived so far is the level of illiteracy and poverty in the north. So that's why we're focusing on educational and economic development. If we help them to get education, they become literate, they'll not easily be brainwashed by any ideology. That's one. And it's possible for one to have education, but also if one is very poor, poverty can make one to actually accept any amount to go and kill. So that's why we empower them economically as well. So ours is more of a preventive measure for the future, in the long term. What is already happening, we believe there are other NGOs trying to engage Boko Haram, repentant terrorists, and all of that. But ours is more preventive because these are the potential terrorists of the future. And if they grow with this bitterness over what terrorists have done and what other ethnic groups have done, they could also grow up hating and possibly taking guns, and that's why we want to prevent that.
As you interact with them,
Yes.
The beneficiaries of your NGO,
Yes.
do you see hope? Do you see people who would want to change the narrative?
We definitely see hope. We see hope, and we hear it from them. They express how much grateful they are and how they are determined to make the difference, to talk to their friends, to talk to the younger ones, and to also help provide means for others when they are in position to have education and to also have economic stability. So we see hope a lot. And some of them, coming from below, they are performing excellently in their academics, and that gives us prospects. We had a young girl who is actually even physically challenged in the Northeast, who came from behind without any good background, and due to our sponsorship, she got enrolled back to school, and she was the overall best student in the entire school. That gives us hope. This kind of students will grow up to become something great. So there is hope, yes.
Looking at it in Nigeria specifically, and the world itself is engulfed with different crises,
Yes.
what would you be suggesting that, yes, these are basics, that's as humanity, all creation of God, what should we be doing to improve and make sure this evil recedes, and then we take back our society?
As a government, I think everyone has a role to play, but if we are thinking of it in terms of what the government should do or what the general populace should do, is first of all to see everyone first as human before anything. Not religion, not ethnicity, first of all as humans who are made in the image of God. And I believe every religion or every ideology would normally respect the dignity of humanity or human beings. So once we shape our thoughts towards one another and see each other, first of all as humans who need to live, then it will help us in the way we respond and engage with each other. And as government, I would say, if the government will be just and fair in its dealings, generally, justice is necessary at all levels in terms of appointments, in terms of providing equal opportunity for everyone. Once that is in place, I'm sure it will help to restore confidence in the government, and it will help to build relationship among people because they see that the government at the center is being fair to everyone. So it doesn't breed hatred towards the other.
Well, from personal help to few individuals,
Yes,
now the number is increasing.
that's true.
One would want to understand how you cope and how you're sourcing funding for this. 250 in school is not a small number.
That's true.
And even to sponsor one, even in the government school,
Yeah.
it's also a huge responsibility. How are you coping with this?
The challenge is really enlarging. The need is beyond our capacity at the moment. We've had people coming to us and requesting if we could sponsor their children as well. We try to go for those who are more desperate than the others because of our limited resources.
So how do you classify those kind of people?
The ones?
Yes, that are more desperate.
Yes, we think they are more needy than the others, so they are the first ones to benefit. For example, if you have an orphan who has lost a father and mother and there's no guardian there to help, and he wants to go to school, there's no means at all, and you have another orphan whose father has been killed, but at least the mother is there and she's healthy and could do something a little bit to raise support, we consider the one without the two parents as more desperate than the others. So that's how we prioritize those who are more needy than the others. And we've received support, thankfully, from individuals and from groups, both in Nigeria and abroad. And we're thankful for that. But definitely, for us to have more children supported would require more funding. So we have a challenge in terms of funding to accommodate all the requests and the needs we see on ground. So we hope to grow, by the support we receive, to expand the number of students we can support.
How regularly do you interface with them?
Our
Beneficiaries.
Yes, our representatives interface with them regularly. Normally when we go, we pay for the entire academic term. Okay. But we expect that in each term, within each term, our representative in that area or our volunteer goes there at least once in a term to interact with the students, to get us reports and updates. And from the central office, we also keep contact with the guardians, with the teachers, with the school authorities to be sure the children are going to school and they are learning. Sometimes we take reports from them directly to know how the child is doing. So our representatives are meeting them at least each term, but for us from the central office, at least once in a year.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's a conversation that we'll keep having from time to time.
That's true.
Time has done it again.
Okay.
We'll look forward to having you again, and perhaps some of the beneficiaries to speak with them.
Yes.
Yes, to also give their testimonies to say, oh, this is what we're going through, and we're benefiting from this.
Yeah, sure.
I want to commend you for taking this responsibility of trying to bring hope
to
people who have lost hope.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate this opportunity, and we are open whenever the opportunity comes. We'll be glad to come with some of the beneficiaries, like you said, to share their testimonies as well. Thank you for giving us the platform.
Yeah. Viewers, that's the much we can take. We've been speaking with Executive Director, Initiative for Victims' Educational and Economic Development. I would want to say here that each one to reach one, because nobody can do all. So don't consider what you want to do for somebody as small. It may be very, very important, and also open new chapters. I'm Yakubu Taddy. Next week we'll be here with another interesting guest.